I wanted to make this recording as a little revision of what we've covered in class. We've spoken a lot about sentences and how to make them more interesting for your reader, and we've discussed simple, complex and compound sentences. I put this up here so you can use it as a refresher when you're doing your homework, but it's not just for that. It's for in life, if you're writing an email, or if you are writing a story, or writing a letter to the editor of a newspaper, so it is more interesting for the reader. So one way to make writing more interesting is to use simple, complex and compound sentences. Now a simple sentence, there's nothing wrong with simple sentences, but using too many of them can sometimes make your writing seem a little choppy. So as an example of a simple sentence would be, I waited for the train. So I've got my subject and I've got my verb in there. Or Mary and Samantha took the bus. That's another simple sentence. To put a lot of simple sentences together, I might say, I waited for the bus. It was hot. I was hungry. I bought lunch. There's a lot of simple sentences there, but it's not particularly interesting. So let's move on now to compound sentences. Compound sentences is a compound sentence is a sentence made up of two independent clauses. So basically two simple sentences put together. Now we have a list of a lot of the words that we use for compound sentences, and you remember them by the first letter of all of them, fanboys, F-A-N-B-O-Y-S. So you've got for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. So a lot of sentences we can join together and make a compound sentence. For example, I waited for the train, but the train was late. What this is telling me that these two sentences have something in common. They have a relationship. They're two independent clauses put together into one sentence. This shows that there is a relationship between these two independent clauses in the sentence, but a clearer and more specific relationship can be established if we use a complex sentence. Now, complex sentences show a more specific relationship between clauses, and they do this by using these words. So we've got an independent clause and a more dependent clause, and these are the words that we use. We've got although, as, if. Now, if you were watching the Simpsons video in class, these were called the Awubis words. Very interesting, and I know a lot of you remember that, which is fantastic. So these words are what we use when we're trying to make a complex sentence, or when we are making a complex sentence. So a complex sentence might be, even though it was raining outside, it was still hot. So that's telling me there's a relationship between those two clauses. So we're using these sentences to make a relationship so that one is dependent on the other. Another complex sentence might be, while he waited at the train station, Joe realized that the train was late. So one clause is dependent on the other. If you have any questions about any of this, just come into class and we'll sit down and sort it out. Until then.